Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bass Talk Live BTL, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Mark and Matthew here on a Tuesday morning, and Matthew, a ton to talk about today.
I got my phone here for alerts, anything that might go on during the hour of the show. Remember, we had a show a couple weeks ago where my flight got canceled to New York during the show.
Yes.
And we just said, screw it and scrap the show. Remember that one?
I do.
We will not do that this week, but maybe something will come out. We got a great show today, though.
We're going to have Dave Mercer on here in about 15, 20 minutes and talk to him. He has a lot of stuff going on and get his take on some of the madness taking place in this crazy game of professional fishing. And it was a bizarre weekend. That's the best word I can throw out there.
I'm trying to think back to the weekend. Oh, yeah, I got something. Okay. How was yours bizarre?
Well, no.
I had a bizarre weekend, too.
It's just with all this stuff going on, and we're going to talk, obviously, a little bit about it, but some of the things that have come down from our sources, you take that and you throw in a crazy weekend of football. I don't know if you watched the game between Chicago and Green Bay.
I watched it up until the last minute.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Especially when you thought Aaron Rodgers was done,
and then comes back injured,
and they end up winning. But just the first weekend of the NFL had so many twists and turns and things going on, and even with all of the controversy that's taking place with the kneeling and all that and everything, it's still the #1 professional sport from a fan base, from a revenue base, from an advertiser base, probably the most powerful sport organization in the world, even bigger than soccer over in Europe. And it kind of showed this weekend.
I don't know if that's statistics, if that's correct, but
I think so. In fact, I saw a piece in the Journal that was actually discussing that topic.
So it's NFL, then it's soccer, then it's MLF. Is that the order?
I believe that's pretty good there, Matthew.
Is that the order that it goes
I believe that MLF might be down the chart just a little.
Number 4, base of America's pastime, just barely edges it out.
Right above the Canadian Football League. No, the Canadian Football League, which we're gonna talk to Mercer about the Canadian Football League too. I've got a couple of questions
Johnny Manziel
on that.
question coming up?
No. That's been interesting to follow. But this weekend, a lot of rumors flowing around, a lot of factual information also flowing around after yesterday based upon the sources that we have. And Matthew, there's some changes coming.
Yeah, #1 is the West Coast swing is out and will be replaced with 2 other venues. I would assume not on the West Coast.
Now we got into a little discussion before the show in discussing this, and let's face it,
now the official press release has not. There has not been a press release from Bass about this that is on their website that is public.
Right. But we have confirmed from sources.
Ike was talking about it on Ike Live on Sunday.
There's a lot of other stuff being discussed on Ike Live,
but anyway, it's gone. No West Coast.
But they're not doing it.
And Sacramento.
And I think this is a result of obviously everything that is taking place in the posturing or whatever is in the works from an MLF standpoint, that they are trying to appease. When I say they, Bass, they are trying to appease the masses and make the best business decision for all parties involved. You tend to disagree with that.
Oh, they royally. Here's the way I looked at it. So if every year the Bass schedule comes out. Last time they went to the West Coast, 2015. So they go about every 5 years just to keep them happy. 2010, 2015. Every year the schedule comes out. No West Coast, no West Coast. Why are you ignoring us? We have Kemp around talking on about it. I know there's a bunch of logistics out there, but you look at the message boards and the feed and the Facebook. Why are you ignoring the West? They take away the Western Opens. They've got a bunch of guys that they still follow. follow that fish the Elite Series, a bunch of those Western guys out there. I mean, they're diehard tournament anglers, and they're damn good at it too. So now you give them, this is the way I looked at it, now you give them the Christmas present. You say, not only that, we're going to the Columbia River, we're going to a new fishery. That's what you guys always complain about. We never go to new fisheries, never. We'll throw a wahi in this year, blah, blah, blah. Now we'll go to the river in Washington. Then they say we're going back to the Sacramento River, the Delta, awesome place, great crowds there. Christmas present, boom, you got it. You wanted it, here's the West Coast swing. That's your Christmas present. Then they wake up on December 26th and they say, just kidding, we're taking your present back. We're returning it. I mean, are you going to want to be loyal to that organization after they toy with you and you're barely hanging on by a thread anyway?
It is not a present. And what you need to understand is they are trying to run a business in a reaction mode. This is not a proactive move, because if it was a proactive move, they would have already made the decision, look, 22,000 miles in one season, that's way too many. That puts too much expense and too much burden. All right? This is a reaction to the masses. This is a posturing to appease how they think that they're going to be able to salvage or save who they have.
The masses, as far as 30 pissed off guys you didn't want to drive out west?
It's more than that. It's more than that.
Okay.
All right. And what you
I understand why they did it. Let me say
hang on, let me finish. Okay. What you forget is that the majority of those people that you're referring to, West Coast guys, have already moved. They no longer live out there. There's a couple that still live out there, and that's it. And
but
we can go
still West Coast guys.
We could go back to shows that we've done 10 years ago. Where they're missing the boat is they need to have a presence out there in the West prior to the Elite Series. They need to have not just a Western swing, but they need to have a Bass brand presence out there. Even if it's a small one, they should still contract out and give those people a taste of the brand with what they can offer. If they want to commit the dollars and really try and build the brand in the West, that's what they have to do. Now, having said that, and I've said that 15 years ago, having said that, this move is nothing but a reactive move based upon the circumstances that they believe and everybody else believes is taking place. Until we get verification, until that press release comes out, we are not going to picture or think or premise what MLF might be doing.
Okay, we won't do that, but we can read a Facebook post, right?
Read away.
So yesterday at 2:56 p.m., Matt Herron posts on his post. He's got a picture of the MLF logo, and then he said, "Fishermen talk when something that affects the industry as much as this. It's a full-on rumor mill." I'm just reading exactly what it says.
Right.
MLF tour looks like it will happen, but it will divide and hurt the industry and many anglers in the but will it divide and hurt the industry and many anglers in the process? Question mark. Wonder what the field size will be. What's the selection criteria? Will it be by career stats, sponsor alignment, or popularity? Rumor has it that 80 pro angler field. Will the field be made of the top anglers or anglers who are aligned with or related to the correct sponsors? Who knows? And there's like 130 comments underneath it. So that tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
Yeah. And
well said. I mean,
once again, until the press release comes out and until the announcement's made, for all practical purposes, it is a rumor. Mm-hmm. It's not a fact until the facts are absolutely out there. Now, could that post be correct in every aspect? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if that is the case, there is going to be, I don't know if chaos is the right term, but there is going to be a very challenging situation for guys to decide what they do, because you have three main factors. One is money. The factor, money. Mm-hmm. Okay, how much is it going to cost me? Two, how is this going to limit or increase my ability to market my brand? And then the third thing is, what are my current sponsors going to want me to do? Where do they want me to play the game? How do they want me to present my brand in which one? And actually, there's three.
There's FLW.
There's MLF.
And BASS.
And BASS. So we have never seen the challenges in this game that we're about to go through, I'd say, this week, next week, or the week after. And forward and onward.
The FLW Tour season starts in less than 4 months. I'll just throw that out there. You know what is a fact and what has been in a press release is that Justin Atkins, the Forest Wood Cup champ, no longer defending.
Yeah.
As Clint Davis took that over, but Justin Atkins popped an open win in Alabama.
Yeah. On Logan Martin.
Did not expect that. Now, he's not a local there, but he used local information from the time he has fished there in Alabama to remember when I did the Gunnersville effect deal?
Yeah.
And all that whole group of I call it kind of like the Bermuda Triangle, except like what is it? Would be the Golden Triangle without the drug reference, I guess, of anglers there.
All right.
You know, we went and did the Gunnersville, and I've done articles where you throw Jesse Wiggins and Justin Atkins in there. And when I did that, Lee hadn't won back to back. Now Atkins wins the Cup. Atkins wins the Open. You have all this. It is unbelievable within a 150-mile radius, the guys in their 20s from Alabama who are dominating this. And they'll all have decisions to make.
They will.
Maybe. Potentially not.
I mean, we'll see. Hey, on the instant feedback already, somebody is saying, Mark, are you suggesting or implying that the new MLF league is not legit? I don't think I made any reference to that.
We just said that there are probably going to be 3 legit leagues now.
Yeah. And this is something else. This is not something that hasn't been tried in any other professional game. I mean, think about it. There have been people that have come in that have tried to make new leagues or new formats and all this stuff.
Google is a wonderful tool to get perspective, and I like to get perspective from other things that I consider parallel or similar. And you can get really deep down the wormhole of, I don't want to call it a spin-off, but it is kind of a spin-off, isn't it?
What's that?
Other leagues or fractions that leave or try to compete
in other sports?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what is the main reason why they do that?
To make more money.
They want to make more money, or they think that they can get a piece of the pie that's out there.
So it'll be very interesting. I'm not saying any of it's good. I'm not saying any of it's bad.
We don't know what it is exactly.
And if you look at Matt Herron as of yesterday, you look at Matt Herron's been around for a long time. It doesn't sound like he knows exactly what it is. I know
a lot of
for
speculation.
A fact that there's guys who have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, a lot of speculation.
You know who always knows what's going on?
Who's that?
It's Dave Mercer.
And a lot of stuff.
But we've been trying to get him on for 3-4 months now. The guy's busy between facts of fishing and his travel schedule and the MC stuff with Bass. He's got a lot going on. So he actually cleared some room. He's going to be live via Skype.
Here in about 5 minutes.
He's got like 8 interesting things we can talk. He caught what he thinks might potentially be the largest largemouth ever caught on film in Canada.
Really?
Last week.
Huh. We'll talk to him about that. All right. I have to mention this, obviously, with today being September 11th, a day in history unlike any other. And it's been a number of years now, but how old were you?
I was 17.
And
it's been 17 years.
Where were you? I mean, do you remember what you were
100%.
doing when the whole thing went down?
I was in the living room. I did not have school that day. We didn't have class. I was in the living room. It went down. I got scared, and I jumped in the truck, and I went fishing all day.
Really?
100%. I really remember it.
Mom and Dad weren't around?
My mom was home.
Okay. You didn't talk to her about it or anything?
No, I just said, I got to get out of here. Yeah. And I just went fishing.
I was on the way to the airport.
Pond fishing. Not in a boat. I just went to the pond for about...
I was on the way to the airport.
Where? In here in Oak City?
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. And I got in my car, turned on the radio, and then this whole thing was going down, went back inside, turned on the TV, and just sat there in front of the TV like I've never done before, in just total shock. And that's one of the things on my bucket list. I have been to New York City several times, but I do want to go back. I haven't been back, obviously, since they have the memorial there, and just go there and experience and pay tribute to something that is just a threshold in history of America.
Yeah.
So obviously our thoughts go out to the people that date and this day and time has affected over time, but 17 years ago. And I think I've told a story too about what happened when here in Oklahoma City, the Mercer building was bombed, and we were actually on a lake, me and Pat, and we were 70 miles away, and we heard this explosion. We were like, what the heck was that? And come to find out, we get back to the ramp, and then the whole Mercer building thing went down. So our wishes out there to all the people that were affected by this day, but hopefully
all of us.
Yeah. Yes, you went fishing, huh?
Yep.
Went to the pond.
Pond fishing.
It's a good way to get away from it.
Yep.
Very
Still
good
do that
way.
every
All right,
now
so
and then.
you said something happened to you this weekend? Something bizarre or whatever? What
Oh,
was it?
no. Let me ask you this. If you were to fish an 80-boat tournament, $150 entry fee. 80 boats, $150 entry fee. What do you think fourth place would pay out?
How many?
80 boats.
Fourth place?
Yeah, 78 boats.
What was the entry fee?
$150.
$150. You get your entry fee back.
For fourth place out of 80 with
Yeah.
$150 entry
Yeah, the
fee?
guy's got to get some grip out of it, whoever's running it.
Okay, well, that's fair. We got 400. We were thinking we were going to get like a bunch. We were like super pumped.
For fourth place out of 80 boats?
Yeah.
Now, you're lucky you got 400.
With a $150 entry fee?
Yeah, how much grip did he keep?
Not much. I think it was like it was called that lucky. It was the Lucky 13.
Yeah.
They gave away $1,300 to 13th place. Pay like $15 to win.
1,500?
Yeah.
Out of 80 boats?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's like $10,000 in entry fees, dude.
Yeah, I would think it would pay a little bit more. Was
What's
it
it?
One for 4, 1 for 6?
They paid
One for 8?
11.
1 for 11?
No, they paid 11 holes, and then number 13. How'd you like to be the
Then what
guy who
happened to
finished
12?
12th?
Yeah.
He didn't get jack. I actually know
Is
the
this
guy who
lucky
finished
number
12th.
13?
It was a 6-killer.
Huh.
Finished 12th, right in between the money back and the...
Hey, real quick, and then we're going to take a break and come back with Mercer. What do you think FLW thinks about all this rumor stuff and all these
They just
things
keep
going?
chugging along.
Their model works.
They just keep chugging along. They got through the whole co-anglers wanting to,
Yeah.
get, removing the co-anglers. Got through that kind of firestorm.
Yeah.
They got a great schedule, too, so they just keep chugging along.
Well, here's the deal, too. If something goes down before our next show Thursday, we will have a special show at a special time and work on getting guests lined up. I do know this. I've already spoke to one of the prime players in this entire process, and when this thing goes down, we will have this person on live via Skype, and he will go into great detail about what's going to happen. All right?
All right.
When that happens.
Let's get Mercer on the line.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back with Mercer.
The most versatile fishing machine on Earth. Unparalleled resolution and clarity, with more agility, lightning speed, and brute strength. HDS Carbon takes rapid response performance and screen technology to an all-new level. Maximized power, maximized visibility. See Structure Scan 3D, new dual chirp sonar, new live network sonar, and more mapping options, all at the same time and faster than ever before.
Pros depend on hydraulic jack plates to get the best out of their boats. Do what they do. Demand Atlas performance. Atlas gets you from the bottom to the top in less than 8 seconds, even with the big 4 strokes. And when you gotta turn right around and get that heavy load back up in rough water, Atlas's innovative design and American-made components will get you there with confidence.
I'm at Depot. Just look for yourself. There's an Atlas jack plate on just about every professional's boat.
The Atlas hydraulic jack plate. You can depend on it.
My rods look different because they are different. Every rod is built by the pros and for the pros. When you pick up a white Duckett fishing rod, you're getting a cutting-edge rod, one that's truly pro-driven, with the actions you need for every bait category you fish. I put my name on it. It's my promise to build you a great rod you can count on.
Duckett Fishing, Micro Magic, Macro Magic, or White Ice.
Try them. They work.
Fishing just got easier, and it didn't cost you a thing. Free feature upgrades from Lowrance. Fish Reveal delivers the best of chirp sonar and downscan imaging, all on one screen, and it's going to help you find more fish. High visibility color sonar take high contrast imaging to a whole new level. It delivers the absolute best views of structure. Fish like to hide there, but their hiding days are over. These features are ready to roll when you are. Just upgrade your HDS Carbon software.
Hey guys, Russ Lane, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. Man, I am so excited to be joining the AFCO Pro staff. They got some really cool, innovative products to help you have a more enjoyable, comfortable day while you're out there on the water. Really stylish, great functional clothing. You're gonna love it. The thing I'm most excited about though is AFCO has pledged to donate 10% of their total profits back to supporting the conservation of our fisheries, and I am all about supporting a company that's about supporting conservation so that we can enjoy our bass fishing for a long time. Check us out, AFCO.
Jacob Wheeler and Tommy Biffle have a lot in common.
Flat bill. The perfect shape. You gotta love some light tackle.
I know I have a spinning rod.
I love my hammer crawl.
Biffle bug.
Rig.
On a hardhead.
Well, they could be twins. Bifflebug, hammer crawl, hardhead, from Gene LaRue.
Let me help you, man.
Let me help that hat.
Whoa, whoa.
There you go. I already look better.
When I talk about Sunline, I think of one word: confidence.
Sunline FX2 is what I use for all of my frogging and flipping.
SX1 braid, which braid plays a big part in fishing line.
Shooter, I'm going to use in those close quarter deals like flipping and pitching.
One of my favorite techniques in fishing the tournament trail is to fish offshore ledges.
We have taken the questions out of the equation.
Take my word for it. It works. It works, dude.
All right, we are back, kicking off the week on a Tuesday, Mark and Matthew, and we are ready to go to our special guest.
He's been doing this a while now. I was thinking about how long he's been doing it, and I think he came in 2011?
I don't remember. I don't.
He's eight years in, almost 9. He's almost got a decade under his belt with the Elite Series now.
Wow. Well, let's bring
him
in.
Is that right, Dave?
Yeah, getting there. I mean, I guess this is my 9th. I started the Classic, so this will be my 9th Classic coming up. Yeah.
And that very first one was the one where that they made famous for you. And Kevin Van Dam slams the door on number 4. That was it that they still use, right?
Yeah, I think it sounded more like "He slammed door number 4."
I just remember that. I mean, that's a good call for your first derby. So.
Well, I was just happy my voice lasted. That was the beginning of my bass career, where I really believed I couldn't lose my voice, and then I learned you can do that. But time flies. I mean, it literally, I still feel like I'm the new guy. And as far as the Elite Series goes, I mean, I guess I've emceed it longer than anyone else, as crazy as that is. But it's been a lot of fun hanging out in the road and getting to see it all front row with you, man.
Are you in your new house right now?
I am.
All right, so just give a little 30-second explanation of this. This is kind of a cool story, and I've talked to you off and on and seen some of this stuff. I mean, you did a lot of work on it yourself, and this is kind of your like dream setup now, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually the house. I grew up on this very street, and this was the house at the end of the street. And the lake I live by, Lake Scugog, is the closest inland lake to Toronto. So you can imagine how busy it gets. And they, when I was a little kid, when I was 12 years old, I said, man, one day I want to live there. And it's not like we tracked it all the time and said, hey, one day I'll get that property. It just so happened things came available, and somebody built their dream home like 30 years ago, and I watched them build it when I was a little kid on the water, and it needed a lot of renos, and we spent 4 or 5 months renovating it, and now we're on the water, and it's totally surrounded by water. I mean, the view I give you right now really sucks, because if I sit in front of the water, you can't see me. I'm just a shadow. But I'll see if I can give you guys.
No, that looks awesome. Oh, that looks like a classic cloudy Canadian kind of chilly day.
It's totally surrounded by water, guys, and yeah, that's exactly the kind of day we're having. We're having, your fall kind of, like, how crazy is that? Look behind me. There's water everywhere, and if I turn around this way,
there's
the water keeps on going. It's wild. I'll actually try to bring you guys outside if I can. We'll see.
Okay.
This was not done in the test, but yeah, this is where I hang. How's that for a view?
That's awesome.
How ridiculous is this?
Yeah, your patio Wi-Fi is not as strong as it is inside.
Yeah,
I'm glad they were wrong.
He's losing the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you need to work on your patio Wi-Fi game, Mercer.
I will get to work on that right away. We've been busy on other things, but that is number one on the list right now.
All right, let's kick it off. Let's go Elite Series. One of the main things we want to talk about is your job is always difficult, but it's even more difficult when you go to the final AOY championship and try to pump up something that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. You've had Aaron Martins, who basically has had to catch one fish. You've had Gerald Swindle, who just had to finish in the top 5. You've had Hackney, who didn't have to catch him that good. We haven't had a real barn burner race, and now you've got 2 characters that are friends, that were roommates before, and Bertrand and Lucas. It is a 2-horse race between those guys, and who knows who's going to come out on top, but we've actually got some real legitimate excitement going to Chatoog for this final Elite Series AOY stop.
It's the best you could ask for, really. I mean, as far as covering the sport, it just gets more exciting, and it just makes it a lot more fun. But yeah, definitely, there's nobody on earth right now, including Justin Lucas and Josh Bertrand, that can look at you in the eye and say, this is going to be our angler of the year. Some people have hunches, some people have beliefs who will win it, but when you get a race that tight, literally, they could both have great tournaments. I mean, if Justin Lucas finishes in the top 12 in his final event of the year, you'd think, wow, that's a great event. But he's not safe in the top 12 because Bertrand is, 9 points away from him?
So he needs a top 9.
Yeah.
To guarantee it. I mean, think of that. Like, how tough is that to do? There was so many, like you said, all those guys just need to catch a fish, just need to have a decent day. You got to catch them every single day. And you got to believe that both of those guys going into Chatoog will catch them there.
How's your back, man?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It only hurts when I stand. No, I'm trying to rest it and get it better. We're shooting a lot of shows here now, but it was weird. I had it really good before the last Elite Series event, and then I showed up there. So maybe I'm just allergic to work. I don't know what it is, but it got a lot worse at the last event. But I'm hanging in there. It's okay. Listen, this is what I always remember, Mark. People will say, man, it must be tough being up there, with your back killing you. And people who have had sciatic pain know about the spasm.
Yeah.
It goes down your calf. And that spasm gets a lot worse when you're listening to a guy tell you about your fuel economy. It always seems to kick in right there. But the thing that I always remember is no matter how miserable it is and no matter how much pain you're in, it'd be a lot more painful if I had to dig a ditch for a living. So it's not so bad.
All right, I want to ask you about the picture that we had prior to you coming on. That this is a record, or you believe it's a potential record for the largest fish caught on television in Canada?
The biggest Canadian fish ever caught, Canadian largemouth ever caught on camera. I mean, of course, I don't know that for sure. There might be some dude who's right now got his YouTube channel and is like, I caught one bigger. But it is by far one of the biggest. I mean, it's an 8-pounder, and an 8-pounder in Canada is unheard of. I mean, literally, it's it's like catching a 15 in Florida. Really, it's not even like a 12 in Florida. I mean, it's that rare.
Wow.
And I mean, it's the biggest bass I've ever caught here in my life. And the crazy thing is, we went on a shoot and we went to this lake that pretty stereotypical. If you get there when it first starts getting those cool evenings, you get, they just start munching and they'll eat crankbaits. And we hit it on the perfect day. And that giant fish was actually the first fish of the day. And to be honest, I kind of, when I hooked it, I'm like, it's a giant. And then when I saw it in the water, I'm like, that's a 6. And then when I reached down to grab the side of the boat, I'm like, no, this has got to be a 7. And you start, because you're where you're at. I mean, think about if you're in Florida. I mean, you really need to have a big set of kahunas to say that's a 15 or that's 8.
Yeah.
So I'm like second guessing it in my head all day. And then I caught a 5 and I put it in the live well for some pictures. And I looked at the 5 beside this fish and they were like, nothing similar. And then I caught a 6 that day. And you're like, well, if this is a 6, that's more than a 7. And we did get a weight on it and measured it and everything. And it was 8 pounds. So it, honestly, I'm still shocked about it. I mean, I'm going to shoot this afternoon and I'm kind of let down. I'm like, well, chances are it probably won't.
All right, dude. Obviously a lot going on in the industry from any number of angles. I'll just throw it out there. What are your thoughts on the Facebook posts you're seeing some pros making, the rumors you're hearing, the questions I'm sure you're getting in your DMs and on your social media accounts? What the heck is going on?
What's going on? I don't know. I mean, normally I'd just say it's the fall. I mean, in the fall, anglers get antsy and they start getting ornery online. But there's a lot going on, obviously, in the industry. And to be honest, I mean, my take on it is I'm a tournament announcer. You know what I mean? I work for Bass, and, I don't really have a vested interest to even have an opinion, really. You know what I mean? I mean, but here's the one thing I will say I've got an opinion on. All anglers, everybody involved, no matter what ends up happening, wherever it ends up happening, and whoever's announcement ever does come out, think about the industry first. One of the things that drives me crazy is we're already separated as it is with Bass and FLW and, and MLF stuff. So all I care about is that the industry is strong. You know what I mean? Honestly, that we all think about, the separation and what that did to our sport in the past, really. I mean, if you look at it, we've been through this before. If it does happen, I mean, have we not? I mean, FLW, a bunch of guys took off to FLW. They were being lured away by what? Money. And that's the same thing that we're hearing. And I'm not saying that in a wrong way. These guys deserve to get paid. I have the utmost respect for the pro anglers. You guys know that. It's not... But what I'm saying is it's business. This happens. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know, because, I mean, to be totally honest, I found out I'm not working for Bass anymore. There's a rumor floating around that me and Zona don't work for Bass anymore. And I'd like to go on record and say, we do. And I plan to retire with them.
Dave, fragmentation in any business, in any industry, the negatives really kind of outweigh the positives a lot of times, especially when it comes to trying to split up that pie. And we've seen this before, and with things being so competitive that no matter what happens, whether the rumors are true or whether things take place, is fragmentation a good thing, and could it make the current products that we have in place, both FLW and Bass, whatever this thing that's going on, could it make those entities actually better?
I think there is part of competition that makes things better. I think nobody can argue that. I mean, I know you're a big wrestling geek. WWE would not be what it was without the Monday Night Wars. And Bass, to be honest, would not be what it was without FLW, or what it is without FLW. So I think competition definitely will make things better for anglers. It'll give more options to people. But I think when you compare the two, the word you use, fragmentation, that's a negative thing. You know what I mean? You really have to weigh out what we've got here. Is it worth it? You know, are we getting enough? And how many years will it take to recover? You know what I mean? Because really that's what's on the line here. And you know, to be honest, like with all the rumors, I'm really interested to see what the announcement is, if said announcement comes, because right now, I mean, I don't know what we're dealing with. I don't know what's going on. You know, I hear all sorts of stuff. And when I hear things like coworkers of mine that I know are leaving, and I know that's not a legitimate comment, then I don't know what to trust anymore, to be honest.
And I'm kind of diverting a little bit, but I really want to know what your take is. Does the West Coast deserve a Bass presence in a sense of giving the guys on the West Coast an opportunity to showcase their skill set without having to make that move to Alabama or Texas or Missouri or wherever it is? Do you think that the brand would grow if Bass had a presence on the West Coast?
I think in a perfect world, yes. I think the West definitely does deserve a presence. But that being said, let me play it a different. So does Canada. Why doesn't Canada have its own division? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you want to make it as if you live where I live and you want to make it as a pro angler, you know, a couple of guys doing amazing down the FLW tour. Jeff Gustafson, he's from 22 hours north of here. Corey and Chris Johnson, you know, that they're just down the road. They can't fish in their home because to compete on the big level, they have to make that move. And I think that's one of the reasons you see so many good West Coast anglers. Think about it. I mean, to make that commitment, you really have to you really have to believe in your abilities. It's not something you're just trying. And that's why we have so many good West Coast anglers. At the point the sport's at right now, I mean, I'd love to say, yeah, go out there, and it's great to grow the sport. And if that's where we go, I'll be all in and I'll be there. But I also think that the West Coast is not alone in their plight. There's a lot of places that, the sport happens here. Like it's the same thing in other sports. I mean, I might be the best car driver out there. I get signed up for NASCAR. Guess what? There's no races in Canada. You know what I mean? It's just how, and you fell in love with sport that wasn't in your backyard. And I know there's a lot of West Coast guys that are hating me for this right now, but I think it's got to be somewhere in the middle. And that being said, I'll be totally honest with the West Coast thing. We went out west and we had a great crowd on the final day weigh-in when Justin Lucas won. But I'm going to call out some of my West Coast guys because I sent this to Kent Brown. I mean, he kept telling me, when's the Elite Series coming? When's the Elite Series coming? We came last time, and the crowds were good on the final day, but leading up to that, I wouldn't say they were. And the West Coast also needs to support Bass when they come there. You know, it goes in both sides. You know, if the anglers are going there and they're like, man, we get giant crowds every single day, it's a lot more appealing for them to go. Their sponsors want them to go more. take on it.
You bring up Canada. I'm curious. Is there enough anglers in Canada to have a series of opens in Canada?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, we have other series that we support, and trust me, I'm not proposing that the Bass starts a Canadian division. Don't get ready. But I was as an example. Yes, Canada could support it, but I mean, oftentimes you got to travel. It's where you live. You know what I mean? Or make the commitment and make the move.
Is this the most chaotic time you've ever seen in this game right now, Dave?
100%. 100%. Because of the people involved. Not so much because the rumors. I mean, we all hear rumors. We get used to hearing rumors and different things that float around every single year. But it's because of the players involved. I mean, because of the people you're hearing the rumors coming from and who's involving. A lot of times those rumors and those things you hear in the industry are usually not the upper echelon guys, you know, the guys that are winning a lot. It's generally stuff you hear down lower, but it's definitely the most chaotic time I've ever seen.
I mean, we started this interview trying to figure out, I was just asking him general questions about who's going to win the Angler of the Year, and we closed it with now there's a Canadian Open Series.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I just built a new house. I need work, guys, is what I'm saying. So, you know, if you got to put them in Canada, put them in Canada. That being said, the West Coast thing, just so you know, assuming we go there, I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys. I really like you guys, okay? So the people that come out, I love you.
All right, dude. I know you got to go for a shoot. We got like 3 more things that I want to talk about. We got what you're going to shoot for. We got Facts of Fishing. We got the hat that you're wearing, and we got your predictions for the Angler of the Year championship on what you think is going to go down. Which one of those do you want to tackle?
Whichever one you want. Let's go in order. What was the first one?
The first one was the Facts of Fishing. When can we watch this 8-pounder get caught on camera?
Yes, watch an 8-pounder, tune in. It'll probably be our season premiere because it's the biggest bass I've ever caught. It'll be really exciting. You need to watch it Sunday mornings at 11 o'clock on the Outdoor Channel. Next.
The hat. We had you on before. You talked about how you're not just going to sell out to anything. You went sponsorless last year and then made the announcement pretty recently with the Abu and Berkeley stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a refreshing experience for all those people watching right now that, you know, you whatever level of tournaments you fish or however you are in the industry, a lot of times people change sponsors and they don't say anything, and I couldn't do that. I really had to take my time, make my decision, and if for nobody else, just for me, you know, after being with the company for 27 years, I wanted to make sure that the decision I made was the right decision or what I thought was the right decision. And I can't be happier. I mean, I talked to a lot of great folks. And that's the one thing I came away from this. I mean, there's so many great brands in the industry that we came very close to partnering with. But the reason that we really partnered with Pure Fishing was a couple of things. Number one, they have everything I need, no matter what I'm fishing for. Whether it's saltwater, freshwater, I mean, their lineup is totally complete. Number two, I like the fact that I'm promoting a lot of gear that, you know, after being with one company for 27 years, it got a little frustrating when people said, well, how much is that reel? And that $1,200.
Even Jeffries could use it.
So it's nice that way. And then it was just the people, really. That's what it came down to. I just really felt like the new people at Pure Fishing just really they went through some crazy changes, just like the industry is, you know, a few years ago, but they really have things figured out. And I couldn't have been made to feel more welcome to a team. And I'm just really excited about, you know, being with them and not being unemployed anymore. It's a lot of fun.
I will say this, and whoever's making the decisions over there at Pure Fishing out who it is, you've got Facts of Fishing with Mercer, is that, and your 2 main players in Josh Bertrand and Justin Lucas, big pure fishing guys, we saw how that went down at the St. Lawrence with, the flat worm and the minnow and all that. Man, they could not have a more perfect storm to close out the season with a bang for one company with the decisions that they've made and all the right people fall into place for it. That's pretty impressive.
That bait at that event was really the crazy story about that bait was the amount of people that were using it that nobody saw. And I'm sure you saw it, Matt, the amount of people that, work with other brands, and I'm not going to name any of them, but they were throwing that bait. It is amazing when you see an event dominated by a bait. We don't often see that, but every once in a while something comes along. Years ago when the Elite Series first came to Erie, remember the gulp, and how it dominated that event. And it's a very similar thing going on with Max Scent right now on smallmouth bass.
All right, I have a question. You don't have to answer this. This is just the business side of me. I'm really curious on this, Dave. Do you get paid in American dollars or Canadian dollars?
Wow. When you started asking that question, I was going to say, I'll answer anything. But wow, you put me there. It all depends where I'm working, I guess. Sometimes American dollars and sometimes Canadian dollars. But for the most part.
Well, no, there's a benefit to it.
I try to get paid in American dollars.
What do you mean? He's on a product-only deal, Mark. Come on. He gets Max Scent worms and a dozen Revos.
No, that's a good question.
No,
because
it is.
It could be to his benefit.
That is.
To get paid in one or the
other.
No,
I was talking
to
to Travis Manson, who was talking about going up and fishing the Canadian. He's like, yeah, you got to go across the border. They got to make sure you don't have it. Then you have to go get your money. You have to get paid. Then they give you your money in Canadian. You got to get it changed back. Then you get. He's like, it's a pain in the butt when he goes and fishes over in the Canadian derbies.
Can you guys do me a little favor? Some of my employers may be watching right now, and they may have figured out they're paying me in American dollars, and I live in Canada. So shut your mouth, please.
Sorry, man. I didn't want to go down that. I just was always curious about that. Because I know that there were a number of professional athletes that deal with situations like anyway, man. You could have just said, Dave, Mark, I'm not going to answer that question.
Damn, we got through two of them. The last one. All right.
No, I have one more, but go ahead. Go ahead. I have one more.
The last one on the three then is, how do you see this thing going down? Do they both? I don't want you to make a pick, but I want you to say, do they both make the? Do they both? Are they both in the top 20? Bertrand and Lucas going into the final day.
Yes. I believe that they will both be in the top 20 going into the final day. And, our angler of the year can't be decided till the final day now anyways, but I believe it is going to go right down to the wire. I don't see either of those guys not catching them. You know what I mean? Yep. And I think if you asked either of those guys right now, they're not leaning on the other guy not catching them. They know that they're going to have to catch him. There's just too much on the line. These guys are fishing too well. They're both going to catch him.
All right, last question I have then. Do you already have your call in your mind worked out for what you're going to say if A, Bertrand wins it or B, Lucas wins it? Have you already started figuring out how that is going to sound?
I do not.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know how far in advance. Because then he had it's payday for MDJ and all that stuff. I'm like, when does he come up with that? Like, does he start working on that like day one? Does he have a list of like, okay, it looks like MDJ might win. Let's see what I got planned out for him.
The crazy thing, I'll be totally honest. I generally don't ever plan anything out. You know what I mean? Like as far as some of the cool, some of them don't end up near as cool, but as far as some of the better ones, the unbelievable and stuff that just kind of came to me at the moment of, and it's so weird because I've tried to think about things beforehand. Okay, well, here's who involved, and they're all so cheesy and weird, and then something comes out and some of it works and some of it doesn't, but I don't pre-plan.
All right, what was yours? No, I gotta let him go.
No, I'm curious. Are you a Canadian football fan? Do you like the Canadian brand of football?
You're just really trying to get me to have no safe harbor. I mean, I can't go to the West Coast anymore. Now, I do watch a little Canadian football, but to be honest, I'm more of an NFL fan.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you watch Rodgers this past weekend?
I did.
And what he did.
He's Superman. It's. I called Zona. I texted Zona after that. I said, "Sorry about your Bears, but the good news is they looked really good in the game. A lot better than the Bears have looked in a long time." And I mean, you can't. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers decides to be Superman, you can't compete against that. I mean, you put that guy on any other team, and it's the same result. I mean, he is awesome.
All right, man. Well, I'm sure Zona's basement was an absolute fiasco after that game. There was stuff thrown and flying all over the place. In case you didn't know, listeners, Mark Zona, huge Chicago Bears fan, has been a Bears fan forever, and they scored 3 points, and Aaron Rodgers came back and
Who are you? Who's your team?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, how does that? How does that come about?
Joe Montana. When I was a kid, I was a big Joe Montana fan, and I'm loyal. Ironically, when we hear our little chat that we've had earlier in this, it all ties in back together here at the end. So I stuck with my team, being loyal, or my quarterback being loyal. And when he was traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, I followed him. But a few years ago, I actually met Joe Montana in Vegas, and it was kind of funny because all these people are coming up to him, "Oh, Mr. Montana, thank you for all the memories." And I said, "Well, I want to thank you for a bunch of bad memories." And he's like, his handler got in the way and said, "Whoa." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean by that?" And I said, "Well, I followed you to the Chiefs, and, we've had a lot of bad years since then." And he kind of laughed and said, "Yeah, you should have left when I left. But things are good in Kansas City now. Patrick Mahomes is a beast."
Yeah. Good weekend for the Chiefs. All right, man. Dave, we'll see how this stuff shakes out. And as always, you're welcome on here anytime. I know you're very, very busy, but you do an outstanding job. And you're right. The longest tenured MC of the Elite Series right here.
Mm-hmm.
The man.
Well, hopefully I didn't say anything in this interview that ends that tenure. But I want to end this with a question, because you guys get to ask all the questions. You put me on the spot. I don't know who's going to win Angler of the Year. Give me your picks right now.
You go first, Jeffrey.
Lucas.
I think Bertrand by a point.
Lucas.
One of you is correct.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And both the guys. What's weird is you see Lucas off the water, and he's super, super nice guy, professional. But, dude, there is an evil spirit to him when he's in the competitive mode, and he just – it's like Jekyll and Hyde almost. He's on a mission.
You're totally right. And actually, it's funny. Last week, or not last week, but at the last event in St. Lawrence, we talked about that. I talked about it on live, and I said, it's funny how different they all are. On the shore, everybody's joking, everybody's buddies. And there's certain guys, like Justin's a guy I joke with and really enjoy seeing all the time. But on the water, when I pull up on him, he's a different dude. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the same, like, there's certain guys that'll be joking and say, "Come on in." Lucas is just very focused, and that's one of the coolest things to see, how these guys do what they do. And if Lucas does it, I mean, if he can pull it off, I think it's truly amazing. Not just because what he did, but the comeback from last season. And guys, if you start looking at the amount of guys that win Angler of the Year after their worst season on the Elite Series, it really is scary, and it shows just how much motivation and focus helps these guys.
All right, man. Best of luck to you, Dave.
Have fun on the shoot. See ya.
All right, there you have it. Mr. Mercer, and wow, if I could get the right shot.
He's in a heck of a position.
A quandary.
Yeah. It's just, I like what he said. He goes, "Dude, I'm an MC. That's what I get paid to do. I'm going to MC."
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's obviously an influential member of the bass fishing community, because you look at all of the different kind of hats that he does wear outside, obviously. An ambassador for the sport. His television show. He's an angler himself. He has relationships with these anglers. He does a heck of a job, on live with what Bass does and their coverage. Obviously works for Bass, but also has the job of promoting the anglers and their sponsors on stage too. It's a juggling act.
Hope I didn't get him in trouble with anybody. The whole American-Canadian thing. Hopefully not.
Well, that didn't change anything. You just asked the question.
Anyway, I have sources that are telling me that something's going to go down this afternoon.
I don't want to hear that anymore. I'm sick of that. I'm tired of that. There's always something going down tomorrow. There's always sources.
I'm hearing.
It's a bunch of bullshit until it's actually
that's
out
what I'm
there
hearing, man.
on a press release.
I'm telling you right now.
I'm not listening to it anymore. I'm not listening to it anymore. I don't want to hear.
Listen to me. Wednesday is going to be a very, very busy day for you.
Yeah, I've heard that for the last 3 weeks, Mark. That here it comes. Oh, it's coming tomorrow. Oh, it's coming this afternoon. The press release is coming out. You know what? We got no press release. It hasn't come out. I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen. You're going to be a busy man on Wednesday. Going to be a busy man this afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Back. Who do we have on Thursday?
We got Edwin Evers.
Plus more.
Allegedly.
We will see. All right. I want to thank Dave for taking time out, his busy schedule, and good stuff, too. Some insight there. And we are working toward the AOY Championship and many other things that will be discussed here on BTL on Thursday. So everybody be safe. Keep on the watch for anything coming down. And we will talk about it on Thursday. Matthew, be nice.
I am nice.
All right, everybody, be safe. We'll talk to you Thursday, same time, right here on BTL. Everybody, stay tuned.